Hello everybody, good day to you. Hey, this is Carpo here. I made a video this morning at work, and I wanted to make kind of a part two to it. So I decided to come to the park after work to kind of soak up some beauty. It's so easy to just go home from work. You're just yearning to get home, and then you get there and it's just something else. So I love my home, love my family, but taking a pit stop to make a video, I guess. And it's a beautiful day out here. Anyway, I spoke in the earlier video about all the components that make up the human body and how there are trillions, at least billions, if not trillions, of living entities, depending on what you consider living, within our bodies. And there are more living organisms in our bodies that are foreign to us than people on the earth. Therefore, each one of our bodies is made up of this, well, it's kind of like GoBots, the old Transformers. You put them together and you make the big GoBot. I think they were GoBots. Maybe those were. Anyway, everything builds something larger. And so we have this microcosm and this macrocosm. Now, outside of all that, we have this question of God. And so after I made that video this morning, I was listening to my usual random philosophy at work on, my headphones, thinking about all these different ideas. And it seems like every time I make a video and then go listen to a lecture by a philosopher, it's always about that subject. And he spoke of exactly that. And I just kind of laugh it off as just, the synchronicities are just, everywhere. So anyway, the idea that came to my mind when I was listening to all this, and this is something that I haven't really been able to process yet because it just came to my mind earlier, and I know this has probably been over 1,000,000 times in other people's minds, but we talk about God as being the creator of the universe. And we have those who believe in a God and those who don't. We have those who believe in an actual God as a male figure who presides over everything, creates everything literally, speaks it into existence, whatever. Then we have people who believe that God is just the general force of creation and of evolution. And then we have a group of people who don't believe in any God at all. So, let me propose something completely different. What if the universe is not a product of God, but rather God is a product of the universe? And there are many different schools of thoughts on this. But what I'm saying is that we humans did not exist at one time. And these creatures, these bacteria, these enzymes, and different viruses and whatnot that make up our bodies, a lot of them did exist. So what happened was these structures organized themselves into a form that created an intelligence. And perhaps there was an intelligence driving that. But what if the more we evolve, not necessarily that we feed God, but that we created God, that the universe created God, not through how do I put this? It's kind of hard for me to put this into words, but it's like telling a story, and the story builds and builds and builds, and it becomes more intelligible as you start to hear more and more of the story, and eventually the story comes together. The words make up the book, but the book uses the words. Okay. How can I put this a different way? I guess it's just really hard to put into words, but I'm sure you're following what I'm saying. Basically, that something at one time created life, okay? Now, life isn't necessarily just set to humans and insects and plants. We don't think of life generally as planets. Oh, but the ancients did. Oh, they did. They didn't just give them names for no reason. These were intelligent entities that function on a different level than us. And as well as the entire solar system being a group of those, and that being its own entity, and the Milky Way, the galaxy, solar systems, galaxies, on and on and on, everything makes up a consciousness. So we have this idea that as it builds, and as life builds, and puts ideas out there in the universe, that perhaps this is creating God as we go. So that would put God as not necessarily a separate being that is all-powerful in his own right to do what he wants, but rather something that needs us as much as we need it. And this isn't anything new. This is just kind of a Western approach to some Eastern philosophies, I mean, that we are the eyes of the world, and the way I see it is, if all these entities and all these creatures really make up our bodies, then why wouldn't our bodies make up an entity of humanity upon the earth? And I don't see why we can't see that. But if all those entities together with the rest of them made up God, then that means that nothing can exist without the other. Therefore, it's a symbiotic relationship. We feed God, God feeds us. And that's, if you want to call it God, that word is dirty to a lot of people. And I honestly, as a non-religious person, it's hard for me to even use that term, but I've tried other words for it. Most High, and power that be, or higher power, or Great Spirit. It all just seems so phony to me. And if you trace the idea back into history to see why, I think it sounds phony to me, not just because of what religion's done to it, how it's marred the idea of God, but how God is not God's not a dirty word, but people associate it with religion, I guess. And there seems like people can't get past this division between either you believe or you don't believe. I've had people actually get angry at me because, I don't believe in God or as a being, and I don't believe in a savior, a personal savior, as being Jesus or Buddha or Krishna or any of these people. I hold the firm belief that, and this is based on not just intellect but experience, is that what works in life is different for everyone. And so there's no right for anyone to attack anyone's belief system, ever. And as one guilty of that in the past, I realize it's because I didn't have my own thoughts on it, except for that I hadn't thought it through. And now that I have thought it through, I see so much. See things a lot clearer, and I'm very in tune with my universal truth, and I'm very in tune with my God, I guess, if you want to call it that. And I see it in every blade of grass. Everything. It's just all pervasive. See if we can get footage of it. Too late. I'm too slow. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm rambling. I always ramble. Go make God.